All right, fans, welcome to a special show we got planned here for you. Gonna bring in my guest that's gonna help me do this here, none other than Mr. Kiebzak, Chris. And I know we didn't plan on doing a show like this today, unfortunately, but just to fill everybody in, obviously, Firehouse singer CJ Snare. It was announced on Sunday that he had passed away on Friday, the previous Friday, April the 5th. And I guess they found out it was due to cardiac arrest. This, from what a lot of the reports are saying, that was the cause of death. Obviously, no, it's caught everybody by surprise. Because you had read that he had just posted. Tell us about what he had posted on the 27th, was it? Or
Yeah, so he had posted on March 27th, feeling stronger. This is, and he's in Orlando, Florida, while posting this. Feeling stronger every day. I'll be back on stage with Firehouse before you know it. Health is first, so making a full recovery before my return. And then some pictures of recent photos of him on stage. Posted a couple things about his other band, Rubicon Cross, that he's been promoting for the last couple years before that. And February 17th, so just a short, 2 months ago, he put slow and steady wins the race. Still in recovery for my return to the stage with my brothers in Firehouse. See you later this year, which was also in Florida. So obviously, um, trying to rush
Mhm.
or rest up and get better to go back on the road. Obviously, these issues had to have been a lot more known to him and his family and the band than us, the fans, seem to realize. This was really out of left field for me. Joe, I know it's a big loss for you as well. I know you've met CJ a few times, as have I, and great guy to the fans.
Mhm. Odd how it all went down out of the blue. It's like, it hits you. It's like somebody who always seemed to be so positive, upbeat. You never heard him say a bad word about anybody, not in the press, nothing, nowhere,
Right.
nowhere. Even when we hung out with him or something in the backstage area, never heard him say anything. He was
No,
always,
no enemies, so to speak.
yeah. So it's just a shame that something like this happens to a good guy. Obviously, a little bit more to story for people who aren't familiar with it. He was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer back in September of 2020, and the outcome initial prognosis was very grim. So unfortunately, um, you know, when you got something like that going against you, it's really tough. And he had to have some surgeries afterwards, and oddly enough, he was able to get back out on the road and tour, and he came to the Showplace Theater here in 2022, and but he had to come off the road last year. He had his surgery in October of 2023, the last surgery, and it's just a shame. So what we decided to do in his honor, and we just got done ranking the Firehouse albums, and that's something you can check out. We'll put the link in the comments for you when we post this video. But we decided to do a top 10, our favorite top 10 Firehouse songs to honor CJ in his memory here. And so let's go ahead and take it away. Why don't you give me what you feel your number 10 is there?
All right, cool. So my number 10 is from a later record, one that we've seen the tour for. The song is Crash. Feel really underrated song from an album that I thought was going to rank harder, prime or higher. It's on prime time, but it didn't. I'm not a huge fan of the whole album in its entirety, but I think Crash, and I remember hearing that song live and immediately saying to you, "Can you make me a copy of that record?" Or I bought it or something back then. But Crash, great song. And that ended up being their last full length, correct? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
last
On
studio
point.
album, not
That was
yeah, last brand new with featuring brand new songs. They did that re-recording of some of their tracks on Full Circle, but that doesn't count.
was
It's
that, and what was the acoustic album? That was
oh, good
the good
acoustics.
acoustic.
That came
Yeah.
out in like '96, so that was way before.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right,
yeah.
right. All right, cool. Yeah, so that's my number 10, Crash from Prime Time.
All right. So my number 10, gonna dig deep into category 5, and actually this was released as a single, but being on the low grade record company album that they were on at the time. It never really got distributed and never charted. And but that song that I feel was my favorite top 10 number 10 song here is "Bringing Me Down" from the
Oh,
Category
cool.
5 album. I've always liked that song, and they did put it on the live album, so that was one of the ones they performed off the Category 5 tour. They did a handful of songs off that album during that tour, but ever since then they haven't really touched it. Um, except maybe here and there. I know that album, that live album, did good in Japan because I think it was filmed in Japan. So, but in the States, it never really got its just due because Category 5, I believe it was like on a label that was kind of like more like an import or something at first. I think an import version was available first, and then later on somebody might have re-released it or something.
Oh, okay.
So, what do you got for number 9?
All right. So for number 9, I have "Love Is a Dangerous Thing," the lead off track for for album 3, which I
Mm,
liked. Like I said during my ranking, I liked that album a lot more than I thought I did, which is weird because it was the opposite for prime time. But yeah, I think that's a great opener. Really good vocal performance from CJ as well. And yeah, I think think one of my favorites from the after the first 2 records from Firehouse catalog. So number 9 for me is "Love Is a Dangerous Thing" from 3.
all right. Well, that's going to take me down to what I got for number 9, and that's going to be kind of what I call a sleeper track, and that is coming from "Hold Your Fire." Now, it was released as a single, oddly enough, only reached number 78, but that is none other than, when I say sleeper track, "Sleeping with You"
Ah,
is
there
what
you
I
go.
got. I always
That's
liked that
cool.
song. I was always hoping to see it live, but unfortunately, I never did. But yeah, that song just a good old fashioned rock and roll song, and heavier than a ballad, but lighter than some of their other stuff. But
Yeah.
it's a good middle grade song, and it just always stuck with me for some reason. Probably because of the chorus. It's really a catchy chorus for me. So
Cool.
that's my number 9.
All right, cool. So number 8 for me, I have "Reach for the Sky." Love that song. Great way, great way to start off that second record. Bombastic, the guitar riff's amazing, Bill Leverty's playing's great, and again, amazing vocal performance from CJ. Love that. So "Reach for the Sky" from the second record, "Hold Your Fire." It's my number 8.
Okay, my number 8 is going to the debut album, none other than "Shake and Tumble." Um, Thought this
Cool.
song would be a little bit higher, but then when I started looking at some of the songs I got above it, I go, "Wow, they just got so many good songs." So that's why it's as low as it is. I figured it would be like top 5, maybe around number 5, but
Right.
here it is at number 8. But never was released as a single, but it was definitely a song they've always played in concert ever since they started touring back for the first album. It's never left the set list, and just a great concert track. It's one of those songs that they usually go from like All She Wrote, usually go right into Shake and Tumble, and the place just gets electric. Usually, it's just a great song and a great guitar solo on there from Mr. Levity, and just a great vocal performance. Just a great overall song. Number 8, "Shake and Tumble."
Cool. All right, number 7 for me would be, and the only Category 5 representation on this list is "Can't Stop the Rain." Love that song. Again, I even on the albums I'm not too big of a fan for Firehouse, those opening tracks are incredible on every record. They're one of those bands that every single album, the first track, is going to be a banger, really heavy, fast, at least for them, and paint a picture of what you remember the best about Firehouse from the earlier records and their heaviness.
Mhm.
So yeah, love that song, "Can't Stop the Rain." Are you a fan? Well, you obviously like Category 5, but do you like "Can't Stop the
I
Rain"?
like Category 5, but that song is probably in the middle of the pack. It's
Gotcha.
not near the bottom end of it, but it's definitely not with the other songs that I felt were better on it, unfortunately. It's a little different. It's a different type of track, the way it
Yeah,
starts off and
totally.
everything. You know, Bringing Me Down and Acid Rain are more faster paced and a little bit more. They're just different songs, and
Yeah.
I thought it was it's an okay song. It's not a. I mean, it's probably I like it better than Rock on the Radio to open up an album. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah,
So
definitely.
I guess that's a good comparison right there for it. So
Yeah.
all right, so you got that one for number seven, and I'm gonna go back to my number seven is one you just mentioned previously, and that's none other than the lead-off track from Hold Your Fire, and that's Reach for the Sky.
Cool.
Um, that was the first single released from that album. Oddly enough, it reached number 83, and it's so weird. I remember when I came home, I went out and bought the album the day it came out. And I remember we went to back, me and my buddy went back to my place to play it, and he must have heard, he wanted to hear it and hear it and hear it. We must have played it about 15 times before we even played any more songs on the album. Because that was the song that was playing on the radio right before it came out. So everybody knew that was the first single. And man, he just loved it. And he was a guy that actually went on to become a singer playing locally in a lot of bands. Jason Russo, great guy. Um,
Yeah.
great singer, actually, to tell you the truth. So he just loved that song, and that's what got him in the Firehouse right there was that song. So, Reach for the
Nice.
Sky, number seven.
Got it. All right. Number six, where am I here? Number six for me is Shake and Tumble. Love that song off the first record. I'm not gonna lie, most of the rest of my list here on out is from the first record. Like I said, for some reason I put that on a whole different category than the rest of their catalog, but I also put it in a different category for hair metal in general. I mean, it's literally that first debut Firehouse record stands up in probably my top three or four favorite hair metal
Mhm.
records, maybe favorite albums of all time. I can listen to that front to back and not have any time that I think I need to skip a track. So Shake and Tumble, one of those, my dad loves that song too. I remember when I was a kid, when I first started, discovered Firehouse, him just driving, like us going to like car washes or just hanging out and him blasting that song in the car as loud as he could. And then years later telling me he only did it to make me laugh, but his ears would be ringing for days after that. But we used to always blast Shake and Tumble in the whole record. So yeah, Shake and Tumble. At this point, like it's hard to put them in order with how much I love that record, but I definitely have these last five are definitely my 100% favorites that I've always loved. So yeah, that's there you go, Shake and Tumble.
Okay. All right. And you said that was number six, and
Number
my
six.
number six is none other than the second track from the debut. And that's All She Wrote.
Got
So
it.
the song is They always play it second, mostly. I think they have opened up with it in the past for a little bit just to change things up, but it just fits so great second because whatever song they open with, they usually can go right into it without stopping, and then just start off with the where they all start singing "Bye Bye Baby Bye Bye,"
Yeah.
and that just kicks. Man, what a great that's a great concert in song concert. I mean, it doesn't really get any better than that, and it really worked best when they opened up with Overnight Sensation and went right
Yeah.
into that. Those two songs together are probably, if I had to say what two songs to kick a concert off with, that would probably be my top five of all time because it just it's like they belong together, those two songs, the way they meld right into each other perfectly, the way the band did it. But they had to shake things up. They couldn't keep it like that forever, and that's the only downside. But I got to see them many a times, when they did that. So that was cool. And All She Wrote, number six.
Cool. All right. Number five for me is Hold Your Fire from the second record, and love it. Uh, love the riff. Always, I know I've seen it once. I don't think they played it both times, but that's a song you've seen them play probably every time you've seen them, right? Do they always play Hold Your Fire?
No,
No, okay. Because I know I've definitely seen Hold Your Fire once. Love that song, great riff. Yeah, just that one's always sort of been what, man, that should have been on that. I'd almost take Hold Your Fire over Rock on Radio. That'd be great to have as the number one song on the first record. I think that would set the whole thing because that's the only song I'm not that huge of a fan of on the first record. But yeah, so my number five is Hold Your Fire.
All right. So my number five takes us back to the second album, uh, Hold Your Fire, same album that you just mentioned.
Yep, yep.
And it's going to turn out to be the second highest charting song of the band's career at number 8. And that's none other than When I Look Into Your Eyes.
Cool.
Best ballad by far that FireHouse ever did. Never got bored of that song, unlike the other ballad that's not on this list.
Right.
But yeah, that's just a great song, and you always seen CJ play keyboards during this song in concert, and just a great song that you know, just one of those songs that you just for me, I just never get sick of it. And believe me, we've talked many times on these shows how certain songs you just get sick of the overplaying of it or the overhearing it, but this one I don't have a problem with whatsoever. Just a great song all the way around. And second highest charting for the band, as we mentioned at number 8. There are only 2 songs of theirs made the top 10, and this is one of them. So,
Right.
all right. So, what do you got for number
Oh, yeah.
4?
Four. Number four for me, and you mentioned it before, by far the best opening song, probably from any hair metal band, besides maybe Look What the Cat Dragged In, but Overnight Sensation. Great riff. The verses in that song. I love the melodicness. CJ's voice is just out of control on that song, just amazing. Um, Holding those notes, especially live, and even from the videos I've seen from the last few years of CJ, just still pulling it off amazingly. But yeah, that song Overnight Sensation just stands a test of time for me. Always love seeing it live. That's another song they don't necessarily always play, if I'm not mistaken, but I think they should. It's definitely one of the best in their catalog, and that's why Overnight Sensation's number four for me.
All right. So my number 4 is a song when I first heard it live, because obviously I had the album before I seen them in concert, but when I first seen it live, I was very disappointed. Because at that point, this would have been the first time that I got to see the band live. They were on the bill at Darien Lake for Warrant, Firehouse, and Trickster, being the middle band. But something happened that day and they couldn't perform, so we got stuck with just Warrant and Trickster, which the one good thing about it came out. Warrant did play a little longer to make up for Firehouse not being there.
Yeah.
It was a sad day though, not being able to see him, because that's the whole reason why I really wanted to go was to see Firehouse, because I had never seen him at that point.
Right.
So the first time they actually played here was back in, well, they did play like I think it was Sinbad's back then. It was either Sinbad's or Blind Melons. It had to have been Sinbad's, so it would have been 91. They did play a show there, but that was before their name really got out there. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Yeah.
So I didn't know about it. I didn't hear about him at that point, so I didn't get to get out there. But the first show I got to see where they played a big venue in Buffalo was out at Darien Lake, opening up the show for Poison Damn Yankees.
Right.
That was 1993. What a great show that was, man. That's definitely ranks in my top 5 of all time, that show. Just a great show by all 3 bands, man. You can't ask for
Yeah, it's an
much more.
incredible bill for that time period too. And that was Poison what on the it was at the what
Native
album?
Tongue.
Native Tongue, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Cece wasn't there.
Right.
But anyhow, getting back to it, they opened up with Hold Your Fire. I was expecting Overnight Sensation, and when you're expecting something and then you get Hold Your Fire, at that point to me, I wasn't, it was a new song that was just kind of out, and they weren't really playing that one on the radio, so I wasn't all familiar with it. So it was like a letdown, big letdown. When you're
Right.
expecting Overnight Sensation and you're getting something else, doesn't matter what it is, usually that's a letdown. And
Right.
that
Yeah.
that's what happened to me. But because of the fact that they did that, that made me pay more attention to this song and got me to really, really to really like it. So in the long run, it actually, you know, helped
Helps. Yeah.
change my musical taste a little bit there. Even though I
Yeah.
didn't get to see Overnight Sensation in a live setting as the opening track, Hold Your Fire was a cool song that they open with. And they don't really open with that song too often. So that was like nowadays if you look ahead there, it was a rare occurrence. So it was pretty cool. But just yeah, Hold Your Fire, just a great song. You can hear that guitar there in the beginning. Dun, 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 dun. It's just a great solid song that I think it's kind of like a forgotten track, you know. The radio never
Oh
really
yeah.
touched it too much, you know, unless you're a diehard and you have the album. But other than that, yeah, just a great song. And to me, I picked it as my number four.
Cool. All right. Number three for me, song you already mentioned, All She Wrote. Again, amazing way to start off a show, even though it's usually not first, it's normally second, but it still feels like a continuation from that opening track. Um, just amazing big chorus, like you said, the bye bye bit, like just when they all come in together and everything stops, and it's just that vocally
Mhm.
incredible. Um, yeah, just really, really, really catchy. I constantly find that song in my head throughout the last 30 years of listening to it. Great song, definitely deserves to be up there. I would probably say their biggest song that isn't a ballad, probably, right? I mean, what song would be bigger than that? Um,
Probably my number two, but we'll get to. I'm
oh,
sorry,
okay.
my
All
number
right.
three, maybe.
Your number three. Okay. All right. We'll see. But yeah, so All She Wrote, you said most everything that I feel about it. Great song. Definitely a banger to start off a record and a show. So very cool in the number two spot there. So for number three, All She Wrote.
All right. And that takes us to my number three, which just give you a quick happening here from the show that I just saw on March 30th. It was they gave the guy handling the vocals, Nate Peck, a really good ovation. I think he won over a lot of people, but the cool thing was as the last song of the night was this one. The song reached number 19 on the charts. And we're talking about Don't Treat Me Bad, which was the first video that Firehouse really had on MTV that really helped break them. And what could be said? I just want to point out the fact that the crowd went absolutely nuts. Loudest ovation of the night. As soon as they started playing it, everybody got out of their seats,
Oh,
and they were sitting for most of the show. And they all got out of their seats, and everybody was singing along and having a grand old time. And that just goes to show you how the staying power of this type of music still has even today. And when they say, "Oh, these guys haven't had a hit out since the early '90s, and they don't make new albums, and they don't do this, and they don't do that," but that's a true testament how I think it's a vindication for those guys up on the stage when they see the crowd erupt like that after being kind of quiet for most of the show. I mean, they were more polite than quiet.
right.
But I feel that when this song came on, it really vindicated them to make them feel that what they're doing is really worthwhile because I'll tell you, that place was electric during this song. And I didn't expect that. I really didn't. And I was really glad to see it. So no doubt that song has a lot of impact on it. It's just a great song. Usually starts off acoustically and then kicks right in. Great guitar solo by Leverty and great vocals. Michael Foster bangs the heck out of those drums on this song, like he
Yeah.
does on most songs. We failed to mention good old Michael Foster, and he's one of the other
Yeah.
original members of the
Great.
band, but feel he doesn't get his just due either. He's back there all night just pounding away and sounding great back there. Great guy, great song. And that's my number three. So that's going to take us down to our number two. So we got surprises here.
Yeah, really. Well, maybe, yeah, probably for you, maybe. Because this song you don't see in a lot of set lists anymore. I got lucky to see it. Um, Once, yeah, out of the 4 or 5 times I've seen him, I think I've seen it once, but love this song. I see it get a little bit of love on the set list here and there, but my number 2 is from the first record as well, Helpless. Love that guitar riff. I know
I
you're
knew
not a
you were going to
fan.
pick that one.
I
No,
love Helpless.
I'll tell you, I've grown to love this song.
Did you?
Oh
Really?
yeah,
Because I
yeah,
remember you were with me when I seen it live, and I remember you saying, "You
yeah.
really want to hear that song, right?" Like, wow. Like I said, really good. I love that intro. And I honestly, I think I asked Leverty because you introduced me to Bill, and I think I said, "Are you guys going to play Helpless?" And somehow out of nowhere it showed up in the set list. So I do believe that I'm the reason that was played that night. But
Quite
out of every
possibly.
out of everything I see, they don't. It doesn't seem like they play it that often, but they do once in a while. I think they played it once on the boat for that cruise that just happened. When
Hmm.
me and you were going over set list. But yeah, I love that. Love the guitar riff. I love the chorus, really big. And if I'm not mistaken, this song, what was the band that came before Firehouse? What's the name of that? That's
Max
the
Warrior?
song. No.
No.
Mm-mm. And they have it's Firehouse, but it was under a different name. It was White something, like White Heat, I think, or
Mm.
something like that. But Helpless is actually on that demo or LP. I'll try to track it down. Maybe we'll post a link in the comments or something. But there was a really good version of that song that predated Firehouse with CJ singing, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the band too. But yeah, so my number two is Helpless. Great song. Wish it got more love.
All right. So my number two is surprising. My number one's really going to knock the socks out of everybody on
Oh
this
yeah.
ranking here, but
We'll see.
this one is no surprise. But you probably thought it would be number one, but I don't know. For some reason, I just maybe because of what's everything that's happened, maybe I just felt a little sentimental to pick something a little bit slower for my number one. But my number two is the Met song that you mentioned that we mentioned earlier, none other than Overnight Sensation, just the one of the greatest opening songs in the history of rock and roll, in my opinion, man. That song just takes off from the get-go, and there's no letting up in that song until it ends. Just
Right.
a great song off the debut. I don't know. I used to get to see Bill before the show many times, and on the Rock Never Stops tour, they played Erie, Pennsylvania. They opened up with something else, and then I got to hang out with Bill before the show, and I said, you guys going to be opening with that again, or are you going to open up with something else? He goes, what do you want to hear tonight? I said, well, I'd love to see Overnight Sensation. Well, we'll see what happens. It was his comment, and sure enough, they played it. So it
Very
was
cool.
pretty cool. Yeah, definitely a great to see it open up at Shays. So I got to see two shows on that tour, and their set lists were a little bit different, which was cool because they were only opening, so they had a fluctuality where they could mix in a few different songs.
Yeah.
Because
Because
they
what do
only
they
had
get?
like
Like,
40. I think they had 45 minutes or something like that, if
yeah,
that.
so like 8 or 9 songs
Yeah,
probably. Yeah.
yeah. So great, yeah, just a great song, and not much more to be said about that. So let's get down to the number one here.
All right. So my number one is the slow, almost bluesy paced rocker. Where am I here? Oh yeah, duh. Don't Walk Away. Don't Walk Away is my favorite Firehouse
Oh
song. It always
wow.
has been. I love that bluesy, sleazy uh tone and feel to the song, and then the chorus is just huge, really big with CJ's voice, and the ending when he changes it up a little bit and the way he's singing it to go underneath the chorus, all incredible. Love songs like this that are sleazy and then just get into a rockin', really melodic, heavy tone. Um, they play this one a lot, luckily. I've seen it a lot live. When they play smaller sets, like you said, the 7, 8 song, 45-minute sets, they will cut Don't Walk Away, but they generally play it. Great song. Seems to get a pretty good reaction anytime I've seen it live. And yeah, definitely wish that one was talked about more, but definitely in the top 10 favorite glam or hair or whatever metal songs you want to say is Don't Walk Away. Always love that one. I'm excited to see what you have for number one. So,
No, you might not be after you hear it.
yeah,
Yeah, because this is it's a rarity. It's a rarity. It comes from the Good Acoustics album, the lead off track, and that's something that you always do seem to like, the lead off track. But I don't know if you like this one, but I don't know. For some reason, I have always been I love this song, and it was cool because I did get to see him play it live once. I believe you were there with me when they did, and that's none other than "You Are My Religion."
yeah, yeah.
Just a great acoustic song that these two guys, Leverty and Snare, wrote together. That sadly enough, they never get enough chance to play it. And a lot of people, if you don't have that album, you really don't know it because it was never on the radio back then, right in the middle of grunge, 96. You were definitely not hearing Firehouse on the radio. It's amazing they even made it on the radio in 95 with a song and much less
Oh,
chart a top 40 hit. But that just goes to show you how good the band it was at that time. They were like one of the last so-called hair bands to actually get a charting song on the top 40. And
right.
I Live My Life for You was that song, which is also on this Good Acoustics album. So pretty good album. I mean, they basically they do acoustic versions of a lot of their slower songs. Um, they even got one of Don't Treat Me Bad on here. But
All she wrote's on there, isn't it?
yes, yep,
Yeah,
yep. And they did a cover of the Eagles' Seven Bridges Road as well.
right.
Yeah. So just a great, for some reason I've always just loved this You Are My Religion, and you know, I just picked that one as my number one.
I
That's
am
where
very shocked that that's your number one, but
yeah.
it's cool. It is a great song, and I understand why it is. I'm just you picked a fucking B-side for your number one, pretty much, you know. So which isn't like you, like So it's cool that you put this on. That's completely left field for me. I'm shocked that that's your number one, but it is a great song. I can see why it is.
Yeah. All right, so we thought we'd just throw that together real quick for you, give you a top 10. Did you happen to have any honorable mentions that didn't make the list?
Um, Not so much. I think I talked about most of
Uh,
those kind of things with the ranking. And like you said, this was just thrown together, guys, pretty
yeah.
much last minute just to try to we weren't even really going to do a show today. We have some other stuff coming up that me and Joe are going to be adding as segments and stuff to these shows here. But we decided just to do something small, Firehouse related, just in honor of CJ. And yeah, the whole thing is just a nightmare. Nobody's seen it coming, so it's really nice to sit here and go through these songs and just sort of listen to them again, just like we did a few weeks ago. And what was really bizarre is when we were doing the prep separately, when I was doing the prep for
Hmm.
the album ranking for Firehouse, how
Hmm.
much different is it listening to those songs then
Mm,
compared to listening to those songs now, just a short 2, 3 weeks later after CJ passed?
hmm.
It is crazy to sort of see that bubble explode and have a different way of listening to the songs. And now like you said, maybe that had some kind of small internal pull on why you picked what you did for your number one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah.
of everything that is entailed with, I mean, even with him being out, excuse me, and sick, we never, especially me and you, we never ever expected this. We didn't even talk about that as an option.
No, no, we never would have. This is just the main thing we did this show today was mostly just to honor his memory and
Yeah.
remember the good times. I mean, it's tough when somebody just recently passes away that you know real well and you've talked to, and you just love that person, and it's just sad when something like this happens out of the clear blue sky.
Yeah.
And I felt, well, you know what, let's do something in his honor and his memory and kind of like because it brings back the good memories, the good times, and it helps you get through these types of situations, and at least for me, everybody it handles it differently, obviously, but for me to be able to look back and remember these good times, and you brought up a couple of them earlier today, and it's just good because it makes you, it's good to have that he was actually a part of our lives. You know what I mean? Even if in more of a ways of a fan of music, but we met him, we interacted with him. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
just means a lot more when you actually know a person as opposed to not really knowing them.
Right. Absolutely. Like I said, any fan of Firehouse had if they went to a Firehouse show in the last 30 years, uh, after
Hmm.
they were huge, but when they started playing clubs and stuff again, anybody who went to a Firehouse show who wanted to meet them were able to meet them. We did it numerous times. They always would just come out to their table at the merch table an hour, half hour after they played, and they would sign for free. Maybe, you had to buy a shirt or a CD or something to get signed, but and CJ would hang out with people for a long time. Those kind of deaths are a lot harder to handle too when they really are that fan friendly. And at 64 years old, we could have got another 10 years of CJ with Firehouse. So it's sad
Well,
to think
that
about it in that way, you know.
that's another thing, he didn't even look his age. He still looks so young.
Oh, and his voice, everybody even
Yeah,
said his voice was still compared to his contemporaries, his voice was still incredible.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You
All right.
know.
Well, we just wanted to pass that along and we're signing off now.
Yep.
Take care.
We'll see you guys soon. Take care and stay healthy.